A family of late General Sani Abacha is faulting claims by former military president General Ibrahim Babangida in his book, A Journey in Service, that their father was responsible for the annulment of the June 12, 1993 presidential election. The family says Abacha was not the head of state, neither was he the commander-in-chief at the time of the annulment of the election. In a statement, the family says the decision to annul the election was made under the administration of Babangida, who, as the then head of state, held absolute executive powers and was solely responsible for the actions of his government. According to the Abacha family, any attempt to shift the blame to late General Sani Abacha is a deliberate distortion of historical facts. While calling on Nigerians to be wary of revisionist narratives that seek to manipulate public perception for personal or political reasons, the family says General Abacha's memory must not be tarnished by baseless accusations meant to absolve those who were truly responsible. According to the Abacha family, the late general was a true and loyal friend to General Ibrahim Babangida, and at the time IBB's life was under threat. It was Abacha who came to his rescue. All right, now we'll have this conversation with Dr. Sam Amadi, who is a Arise News analyst and the director of Abuja School of Social and Political Thoughts. Glad to have you join us on Arise News Night on Arise News. Well,
thank you.
The Abacha family finally out a statement over IBB claim on June 12. What's your sense or assessment of that statement?
Well, I think the Abacha family is right to try to kind of protect the name of their father. Again, quite sad that Abacha died in circumstances when he didn't live to maybe give us a chronicle of his own, his own chronicle. And it must be said that Babangida is quite a lucky chap, ruled the country, living to old age, maybe outliving his comrades, many of them who are dead now. And he has to, like, is it Churchill who said, history will be kind to me because I intend to write it. So Babangida is writing history himself, and maybe history will be kind to him. So that's the advantage you get when you write history.
By yourself?
By yourself. So he is, of course, there have been plenty of work on Babangida by his, the intellectuals he corrupted, some would say. The likes of books like Prince of the Niger, several books about it. But this is him now writing. That book has been expectedly, not surprisingly, controversial, but again, very informative. I mean, for example, he has told us about the circumstances in a very authoritative voice and somewhat objective voice about the issues surrounding the first coup, and the fact that this is, as he said, not an evil coup in intention, even down the line it might have been corrupted. So he has given us a lot that we didn't know. Now, this issue of June 12 we know very well, because I was also myself a participant in the whole struggle in Lagos during the June 12 with Campaign for Democracy. So I would know the build-up to that, and even when I started working with Chief Ganefa with me, immediately after 1992, when we came out from law school. So we are now officials during the crisis, and we are part of the struggle. What is clear is that Babangida is responsible. That's no doubt about that, because he was head of state, and in his book he indicated that he takes responsibility. He kind of, apologizes, whatever that means. But at the same time, Abacha. So these two of them are right. He's responsible. Abacha children are right to say you are responsible. But Babangida, somewhat right to say that Abacha was a powerful member of that cabal. In fact, Abacha, one could say, he announced the coup, so he had more control of the forces on ground. Babangida is a tricky, wily general who survived, and his survival instinct has been to understand the power dynamics and shape everything to his own advantage. So he knew Abacha was very powerful. And that's why at the last minute, when there's going to be a step down, he had to drop off, allow Abacha continue. And Abacha was very brutish, very clear, his tactics. He's just a general, fearless, brutal, one would say. But while Babangida was corrupting Abacha was brutal. And so the point is this. It's not really true that he was solely responsible. The truth of the matter was that this cabal, made up of Abacha and Babangida, didn't want the transition to finish off well. Babangida fancied staying back. If you look at that process, the political bureau, all different, obstacle race, hurdles. So he wanted to profit from that annulment, but at the same time, Abacha himself, one can say the kingpin himself, the guy who held the ground, didn't want to happen. So these guys were collectively responsible. But again, as president, as military head of state, yes, again, the other point about absolutely responsible is not absolutely executive power. No, Babangida shared power in significant sense with Abacha.
Now, what you're saying,
yeah,
for some, and particularly for the family of Abacha, begs the question, the buck stops at your table.
Theoretically,
the buck
correct.
should stop at IBB's table.
But in writing history, it
shouldn't be seen to be, well, the Abacha family says distorting facts.
So they can restate facts. Mom said that in history, in political analysis and historical analysis of events, you don't look at the formality. So, for example, we talked about Yar'Adua's tenure. We knew that Yar'Adua was president.
Yeah.
But we knew that those who called cabal. We knew they were shadowy characters who were powerful. In the same way, Babangida was responsible. And he can't run for that. But at the same time, Abacha and others were also responsible to the extent that they themselves were totally in agreement and in cohort to abort June 12. And Abacha's action, by the way, I was a young lawyer with Chief Gadafayami when Onogoro and them were blindsided by Abacha to enter into that transition. And Abacha promised to restate Abiola's mandate. That was part of the word used to woo the Southwest human rights and civic leaders. That's why Onogoro came in. And Onogoro was brutalized. So the point is this. This is the president. Now, if you want to be analytical and the historical review, you're going to capture the dynamics that threw up decisions. President was there. There's Armed Forces Council, who were powerful, who had views about that process. And what Babangida has told us is to scope for us the various forces. Yes, he did it in a way to absorb himself, to see himself as a victim of a powerful dynamics, which is self-serving narrative.
Isn't that why
Yep.
he's rightly or wrongly called Maradona? But answer this question before we let you go.
Yeah.
After all said and done, how does this statement affect the narrative in terms of closure and posterity?
I think what we're seeing that Babangida has to come up stronger to say, I erred, perhaps misguided by my own ambition, misguided by my natural inclination to trickery and deception. It was a lot of deception. He has to acknowledge that. Of course, historians will hold him responsible. But at the same time, he can say, I was weak as well, that there were forces that didn't want this to happen, and I played along with them. So, see, two things can be right. A very trickish, corrupt, and manipulative leader used this. In fact, he was actually manipulating all the process. The combination was June 12, and it failed. At the same time, there were strong military cabal, civilian also part of that coalition, who didn't want Abiola to be in power, and who probably for ethnic, religious, or other ethnic or professional or business interests wanted that transition to continue. Some people even bring in Aton Zorebe, by the way, who had this ABN, who was used. There are many unfinished story here. What about the INEC, the NEC chairman, what's his name, the professor? Mosu, who played a key, who is so sad that Mosu misses out in this narrative. How he held strong to stop, to ensure that this June 12 was defeated. So there are missing gaps that Abacha children should write. By the way, Abacha children, unfortunately, Abacha died too early. Maybe he should have passed on some information to his children. So his children maybe Abacha's collaborators, there are many civilians who are part of that process. They should also come and write and supplement
their own narrative.
What Babangida has left on the table. Babangida did a great job to give us a book, no matter how flawed.
I don't know about great job.
Well, because Nigerian leaders don't write books, and that's the gap in institutional learning. So I give it to him that.
I mean, you can say he did a job, but I don't know about great.
Well, he did a good job of a book, but to his own interest, he says, history will be kind to me because I'll write it. So somebody should counter that.
All right, thank you so much,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Sam Amadi there on Abacha's family's debunking of IBC statements concerning the June 12 election, presidential election by the